How to ask better questions. A guide to more meaningful conversations. Asking the right questions is a skill that can transform your conversations, improve your learning, and deepen your connections with others. Whether you're trying to solve a problem, learn something new, or simply engage in a meaningful dialogue, the quality of your questions can greatly influence the outcome. In this video, we'll explore techniques for asking better questions and how doing so can lead to more insightful, productive conversations. 1. Be clear and specific. The more specific your question, the easier it is for the other person to provide a meaningful answer. Vague questions often lead to vague answers, while clear, focused questions encourage precise responses. Being specific also shows that you've put thought into what you're asking, which can make the other person more engaged. Example of a vague question. What do you think about this project? Example of a specific question. What are your thoughts on the timeline we've set for this project, and do you think we can meet the deadline? 2. Ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions encourage elaboration and in-depth responses, unlike closed-ended questions, which can be answered with a simple yes or no. Open-ended questions foster conversation and provide more insights because they require the respondent to share their thoughts, opinions, or experiences. Example of a closed-ended question. Did you like the presentation? Example of an open-ended question. What did you think about the presentation? Was there anything that stood out to you? 3. Avoid leading or loaded questions. Leading questions are those that subtly push the respondent toward a particular answer. They can create bias in the conversation and make the other person feel manipulated. Instead, aim for neutrality in your questions so the other person feels free to share their honest thoughts without being influenced. Example of a leading question. Don't you think the new policy is unfair? Example of a neutral question. What are your thoughts on the new policy? 4. Ask follow-up questions. Good questions often lead to more questions. Follow-up questions demonstrate that you're actively listening and interested in what the other person is saying. They can help clarify details, dig deeper into a topic, or explore a new angle. Following up on someone's response makes the conversation more dynamic and thoughtful. Example of a follow-up question. That's interesting. Can you tell me more about what led you to that conclusion? 5. Use the power of why. Asking why is one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to gain deeper understanding. It encourages the other person to think critically and explain their reasoning. However, be careful not to ask why in a way that sounds accusatory. Phrasing matters. Asking why is great for uncovering motives, goals, and thought processes. Example of a why question. Why do you think that strategy worked better than the previous one? 6. Incorporate how and what questions for problem solving. If you're looking to solve a problem or encourage creative thinking, asking how and what questions can be extremely useful. These types of questions help the other person explore solutions, strategies, and options. They are especially useful in professional or decision-making contexts. Example of a how question. How do you think we can improve our customer service process? Example of a what question. What steps should we take to ensure this project stays on track? 7. Be mindful of tone and timing. Even the best questions can fall flat if asked at the wrong time or with the wrong tone. Be mindful of the context in which you're asking the question, whether it's a formal meeting, a casual conversation, or a delicate situation. Tone matters as well. A question asked with genuine curiosity will yield better results than one that sounds demanding or critical. Example of mindful tone. Instead of, why haven't you completed the task yet? Try, can you help me understand what's been holding up the completion of the task? 8. Ask for examples or clarification. When someone shares an idea or concept, asking for an example or clarification can provide a clearer picture of what they mean. It also helps you avoid misunderstandings and ensures that you're both on the same page. Example of asking for clarification. Can you give me an example of how that process worked in your previous company? 9. Balance questions with active listening. Asking questions is only half of the equation. Listening carefully to the responses is equally important. Active listening means paying attention to both the words and the underlying emotions or ideas being communicated. It also involves giving the other person time to think and answer without interrupting. Example. After asking a question, practice pausing and giving space for a thoughtful answer. Follow up with, that's a great point. Can you tell me more? 10. Frame questions positively. The way you frame a question can influence the answer you receive. Positive framing encourages constructive thinking and can put the respondent in a more open, solution-oriented mindset. It's especially useful in situations where emotions might be high, or the topic is sensitive. Example of positive framing. Instead of, "Why did this fail?" try, "What can we learn from this, and how can we improve next time?" Conclusion: asking better questions is a powerful tool for effective communication, deeper understanding, and meaningful relationships. Whether in a professional setting or a personal conversation, the way you ask questions can shape the flow and outcome of the dialogue. By using clear, open-ended, and thoughtful questions, while also practicing active listening, you can inspire more engaging conversations and gain valuable insights.